Hello and welcome to this esoteric numerology reading for Tuesday, 22nd of February 2022. This is going to be a big one. Hold on to your hats. Okay, so first of all, I live in England where we write the date with the day first and then the month, and that does have a slightly different energy to writing it with the month first. So I'm actually going to cover both of those different ways of writing it in this reading because there are some subtle differences and they do actually matter. So Tuesday, as it's been dubbed, actually has a really special energy. And the way I write it, which is 2202 2022. If you put a gap halfway down the middle, it actually makes a beautiful mirror image, a bit like a butterfly, which right away speaks to me of balance, but also metamorphosis. So it's a very, very special number sequence that we have here, and that's something that my guides wanted to bring my attention to straight away. So when I gazed at the numbers, which is how I start with numerology, you start by looking at the numbers. This makes it a very balanced energy, specifically for the parts of the world that write it that way. Okay, so unlike the 2nd of February, I think there are inevitably some differences between the different areas of the world that write it differently, and perhaps less balance for the people who write it, say, in the United States, where it would be written as 2/22/2022. I'm also going to post some shorter individual readings for specific countries because there is a lot going on energetically on this day. It's a really, really big one. I can't stress that enough. And there's a whole lot more that I want to be able to add without making this video too long. So be sure to look out for those too. Okay, so 2/22/2022 or 02/22/2022 if you write it with 0 at the beginning, if you're in the United States or some other countries. It has more of a feeling of growth, of starting at the beginning and increasing speed and increasing momentum, because you have 1 2, then you have 2 2s, then you have 3 2s. So rather than it being the balanced mirror image, the other way it's written, it's a really interesting point to note. It's almost like an accumulation. It's a growth. It's fascinating to see. So think about where you are right now and how the date is written where you are. Also think about how you prefer to write it, because that will give you some insights into what's in store for you personally and the people around you. Now, looking at the numbers themselves, we have 6 2s and we have 2 0s. And yes, a lot of people are forgetting those zeros and just looking at the number 2s on that day. And I think that's a big mistake. Zeros are just as important as any other number to look at. And I think to ignore them or pretend they aren't there for a numerology reading in particular will unavoidably leave you without part of that message. 0, as I've said before, is the number of the void. It's the time before existence. It's what you might call the word of God in Genesis, before the world's created. It's the Tao. It's that which has always been and will always be. And as such, it holds unlimited potential for the future, and it has a calm energy to it that some people find a little bit unnerving as well, because of all that huge potential that lies within 0. So it can feel like being at the eye of a storm. We have 2 of them strategically placed in Tuesday's date. And the way they're placed, it's either in a way that will help to further the balance of the energy for the UK and Europe, or to bring additional opportunity and to help the momentum along for the United States. So we're just going to take a look at those. 0 feels almost like a secret energetic driver here. It's bringing some real power to the mix from the unseen. So there is a lot of spiritual help and support which will help us to grow, to learn, and to change in positive ways on this day and moving forwards after it. Now, looking at the 2s themselves, we have 6 of them, which adds up to 12, which is the number of perfect governance. It's the number of government and law. And when number 12 is in balance, it can be a very harmonious and wise time to live in. When it's out of balance, it can indicate tyranny and control, top-down control. No prizes for guessing what sort of energy we're in right now. So 12 also reduces to 3 when we add the 2 digits together. 1 plus 2 makes 3. So we also have to bring in the energy of number 3 to the reading too. Now, number 3 is the number of the blueprint. It's the design for life. It's the plan before it becomes to fruition, and it can be a very joyful energy, full of optimism for the future. Now, when 3 is out of balance, it can be a very fearful energy that causes people to follow other people out of fear, rather than making their own decisions about their lives or thinking for themselves and deciding what sort of world they want to live in. It can make you a follower rather than a leader, and that's not a great thing. Now, 12-3 energy, and I call it 12-3 because 12 reduces to 3, so you'll notice me do that with two-digit numbers. 12-3 energy can be very self-empowering, but it can also be catastrophic for individual rights and freedoms. Okay, so you're starting to see why this is a really important point in time. When you look at the powerful number 2 energy, which is one of the big themes this year, it's all about choices, exploring options, finding balance between polarities and opposing points of view. You can see why this is such an important theme. This day, this energetic portal is not asking, it is demanding that we look at our lives, see who's calling the shots, and decide once and for all whether that's actually what we want for the rest of our lives or not. This is a really pivotal day. It's a really pivotal portal. I can't stress that enough. This isn't just one of those nice light-hearted portals where you can kind of enjoy the spiritual energy. La la la, it's lovely. I'm going to meditate today and enjoy the spiritual high. No, it's not one of those, I'm afraid. This is serious. We have to get down to business. You're being asked to decide whether you want an authority figure or a perceived expert to make all of your decisions for you, or do you actually want to be in charge of your own life? And that's the question that's being asked. Spiritually, this day is a bit of a kick up the backside, I'm afraid. It's a clarion call to grow up, wake up, and take responsibility for your life. Humanity, throughout our history, the majority of our history that we know about, has this overarching theme of the many being controlled by the few, either willingly or through ignorance or even through violence to do so. And this portal is really bringing that into focus right now. Now, in numerology, we say that 0 is a number that can act like a lens. And the 2 zeros that we have here are really like a pair of spiritual glasses that we've been handed to put on so that we can actually help to see things more clearly once and for all. And that's how that feels like to me. We can really no longer hide from the truth right now. We can't bury our heads in the sand. It's just not acceptable anymore. And we must all spend time in contemplation, in meditation, in prayer, or literally just thinking about how we want our future to be, what we want it to look like. Do we want to be controlled by a small number of megalomaniacs? Is that okay with us? Or are we going to claim our birthright and to be the incredible, self-empowered spiritual beings that we always knew we were? Because the lines are being drawn on 22nd of February. They really are. And you have to decide. Okay? You don't have a choice. Are you spiritually an adult or not? Now, I've talked about these themes many times in readings, in my podcast, in individual readings with clients, but what I'm seeing in the numerology of Tuesday is actually a deadline. This is serious. This isn't fun numerology at all. You have to choose now. Staying on the fence is no longer going to be an option, spiritually speaking. Now, this may sound very heavy, but I want to remind you that you have a very empowering choice being offered by the universe right now. This portal is asking you whether you want to be free and empowered or whether you want to be a slave. And it's up to you. There's no right or wrong answer here. There's just what your heart tells you. And I want to say, don't be afraid. It is an emotional day because of all those emotional twos. Wow, it's going to be it's quite a day. And I think there might be a lot going on as well, perhaps on the world stage, maybe in the media trying to distract us, or perhaps trying to get us to fall into compliance with governments or authority figures, trying to make us fear a bigger threat or something is actually going on. But it will just be a smokescreen to try and harness your energy and take it in the wrong direction. So bear that in mind. You were not born to be a follower. Okay? You were not. I'm telling you this now. This is a sacred day of spiritual potential where you can finally remember who you are and why you came here. And you're being offered the opportunity to take the first step or the next step in that direction. Now, for those of us in the UK and Europe, or anywhere the date is written with the day first and then the month, we have another aspect to consider here. If you're in the US or somewhere where you don't write the date like that, feel free to skip this chapter. I've put chapters below and go on to the next one. I will come back to you guys because I need to talk about that too. But for those of us who write the date 22/02/2022, when you look at the sequence, number sequence, you have 2202222. Okay, so you basically got the number 22 3 times in a row, separated with zeros. Now, 22 is a sacred number. It's called the feet of the goddess because it's made of two twos. Number 2 is the high priestess in tarot, for example. It's the number of the divine feminine. It's a number that brings potential for self-mastery, huge inner growth and wisdom. It inspires inner strength. It helps us to get through difficult times, to work in harmony with others, and it has the potential to bring big, good changes for the world, for the greater good. Now, coupled with number 3 energy, because we have 3 number 22s, this is big picture planning time. Big, big, big picture. Okay, this isn't about, oh, I'm going to write a manifesting list for myself or look at my vision board. No, this is about the world right now. This isn't about the individual. This is about designing the future of the world. And that's the responsibility of each and every one of us to take on. And I don't think most of us realize that. It doesn't mean choosing a leader. It means taking personal responsibility and making your decisions based on your choices, feelings, inspirations, and decisions. The ruling classes will absolutely be trying to lead us astray, as usual, and knock us off balance. So I would say make sure that you're feeling grounded on Tuesday and connect with similarly minded people as much as possible to help you feel confident, to stay calm, even in the face of opposition, because there will be some. Okay. Now, when you add up 22 plus 22 plus 22, that gives you a 66. And that's a number that I also need to bring into this reading because this is relevant. Okay, so we will be affected by the number 66 energy too. 66 is a double 33. Now, don't freak out when you hear 33 because that's actually a number of the Christ consciousness. When it's balanced, it's incredible energy. And 66 is the number of the physical and etheric spine together. So this is the light of spirit meeting the potential of earth. This is huge. This is like the second coming energy. Okay. There is real potential for massive spiritual awakening and enlightenment either on this day or because of it in the future. So 66, which reduces to 12, of course, so we get 66, 12, 3. It brings a very sacred and quite a unique window of opportunity for spiritual awakening. And I really can't stress this enough. Do not ignore this day, okay? Find some time to spend in prayer, in meditation, in contemplation, connect with your guides, connect with these incredible energies and, use them to help visualize a loving, positive and enlightened future for the world. That is your job. Okay, so moving over to North America, parts of the world where the date is written as 2/22/2022. Okay, so the energy here is one of actually building momentum. This is a little bit different. It's like building a wave of emotion, which is going to smash into the collective and it's going to force some changes to happen. So you're going to need to be ready for this one. This may not be pretty, okay, but it's going to be powerful. My advice, get a surfboard, ride that wave. It feels as though everything's really coming to a head on the 22nd of February, and you're going to be held accountable for your actions or your failure to act in your own best interests and the interests of the collective as well. It feels almost like a judgment day, February 22nd, all of your chickens coming home to roost, which may or may not be a good thing, depending on how you've lived your life. So I feel like you're going to need to be ready for this day. And this is on a personal, but also on a national level, on a collective level as well. Now, because of all the twos, it's very, very emotional energy, okay? I'm seeing people screaming, arguing, yelling, completely overwhelmed by the difficult messages or challenging realizations coming through from this day, either on it or after it as a result of it. And this is really difficult stuff, okay? You will not be able to avoid it, so don't try. The key is just to try and remain as calm and aware as possible. So if you can spend time in the morning of February 22nd in prayer, meditation, or spiritual practice to try and help you keep a clear head when everyone's losing theirs around you, or to stop you falling into the trap of being reactionary or acting without thinking, that's going to help enormously. But like they say, every cloud has a silver lining, and even a big dark cloud like this one has a massive silver lining. And that is the massive potential for emotional and spiritual growth that comes from this portal from this day. So for these countries and areas, it feels like the teenage years are over and it's time to grow up. Your numerology is 2 leading to 22, leading to 222. Okay, so with number 2, emotional self-mastery is needed first. Then you can go on to 22, which is spiritual self-mastery. And finally on to 222, which is a higher level of existence, and it's a wiser level of being, where you can live in harmony with yourself and with the world around you and on a higher plane of existence. So what I want to say, the first challenge you guys face is to stop being so polarized. Number 1, really, really important, especially in the United States. It's very noticeable in US politics. You're either team red or team blue, and never the twain shall meet. Well, guess what? That's irrelevant if you're not on team humanity. So you're going to be asked to rethink this. This is very much going to be highlighted on February 22nd, and you have to think about what you're going to do moving forwards. We are all part of the human race at the end of the day, and ultimately we are all one with each other as well, and one with God or the goddess, the divine, whatever you call it, doesn't matter. Okay. And when you remember that we're all one, you're taking a very important step towards enlightenment and a better future for the whole world. Okay. It's not us against them, because there is no them. Okay. There is only us. There is only one. There is only I am. Okay. There is no separation. So to summarize, the big themes for today are taking personal responsibility for your life and choices and the future of the world. Remembering that you're one with God and nobody is superior to anybody else, nor should they be acting as though they are. It's also doing the right thing and choosing to act with wisdom, not reacting from fear. And the last reminder is to speak and act from the heart instead of allowing political or other alliances to sway you. So no pressure, but this is kind of a big day. Yeah, this is a big deal energetically, and the fate of the world is kind of in your hands right now, all right? So don't ignore it, please. Please do remember to subscribe to the channel, leave me a like if you enjoyed this video. I will be uploading individual readings for the UK, USA, Canada, Australia and New Zealand, looking at the energy specifically affecting people in those areas, so be sure to look out for those. If there are any other areas you would like me to do a video for as well, leave me a comment and I'll see if I can fit it in too. But in the meantime, I'm sending you huge, enormous amounts of love, healing and blessings. We are going to need it, and I will see you again soon.